This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Okay, good afternoon everyone, Shalom Aleichem. We continue in the Orchos Chaim of the Rosh, and today we're going to read Ois Chavtes. The Rosh says, Haser mimcha, remove from yourself, Mishenes hakone haratzotz, the staff of the broken stick, which is Mishenes b'nei Adam, the staff of man. This refers to a pasuk in Malachim Beis, Perek Yud-Ches, pasuk Chaf Aleph. Ata hine batachta lecha al mishenes hakana ratzotz. Now behold, you have relied on what is called the support of the broken stick. This is referring to the fact that Chizkiah HaMelech relied on Mitzrayim to save him from Ashur. Meaning, the reliance on man is called relying on the support of the broken stick. And the reason why it's called mishenes and not bitachon is because it's obvious you can't have bitachon in man. How could you have bitachon in a human being? They're finite, they're mortal. But the Rosh is saying you shouldn't even lean on them. Don't lean on man. Not only can you not take security in a man, but don't rely on a man. Don't feel support. Oh, I'm not worried. I always have so-and-so to rely on. Even, in other words, psychologically throw that away. In one's mind, we rely, not only do we trust only in God, not only in America, in God we trust. According to Judaism, not only in God we trust, in God we lean. We don't lean on anybody else. And walk humbly with your Creator. What does walking humbly with your Creator have to do with not relying on man? Because someone who has to rely on other people, he always has to curry the goodwill of this one and that one because he's reliant on them. I need him to like me because I need him to support me, I need him to help me. But somebody who doesn't even rely on man, he could walk humbly with God and he has no need to curry favor with anybody. V'altasim zahav kislecha. Do not place gold on your path. This is a pasuk in Eov, Perek Lamed Aleph, pasuk Chav Daled. Don't trust in money. You would think, okay, a person I can't trust because a person is mortal, finite, but money is an entity. No, don't have any reliance on money. In other words, people feel, why is it good to have a lot of money in your bank account? Ooh, you know why? This way I don't have to rely on God. It's much more convenient. It's much more secure. I like having a lot of money in my bank. It makes me feel much more comfortable. It's better than relying on the Ribono Shel Olam. So no, that's what the Rosh is saying. Don't trust in your money. When you get up in the morning and you feel unstable, don't say, well, at least I have my friend, relative, rich acquaintance, bank account, none of that. I'm not unstable because Baruch Hashem, Asher Sam B'Hashem Miftachai, Baruch HaGever Asher Yiftach B'Hashem. I'm not unstable. I am fully reliant on HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But the Rosh says, Ki zois tchilas avodas akum. That's the beginning of avodah zarah. The beginning of idolatry is to think, well, I don't have to worry. Because if the U.S. economy ever falls, I have precious stones, I have cash, I have a Swiss bank account. No, that's the beginning of avodah zarah. To rely on your property. Rav Elchanan Wasserman writes about how all the isms, nationalism, Buddhism, socialism, communism, these are all ideologies that one would put their faith in. Any time we put a reliance or faith in anything other than HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that is the beginning of avodah zarah. Okay, so now, not only should you not rely on your money, upazer mamoincha, scatter your money. Ka'asher hu retzainai. When it's the will of Hashem. Scatter your money. Meaning, not only don't rely on your money, but be very generous. Now, not to spend it on frivolities, as Rabbi Yisrael Salanta writes, and the Gra writes in the Garas HaGra, that one will give a din mechezron on any penny that they spend. But when it comes to supporting Torah, supporting, fulfilling mitzvahs, being mechazik tamid chachamim, supporting limudat Torah, be very generous, as if like you're giving away monopoly money. Kasher hu ritzaynai. That's his will. So you say, but then I'm going to lose out. Nah, ki biyadoi lamalos chasroin. Hashem could be memale your chisaroin. And don't think it's going to harm your family, or your assets, or your future. V'lasis teref b'nei beischa, and he could supply food for your own household, even if you're very generous. The Gemara in Sukkah brings, on Daf Memal from a base, there in Gamliel bought an esrog for 1,000 zuz. Imagine if you heard a guy spent $1 million on an esrog. You'd think he's out of his mind. No. If you have $1 million to spend, why not? Why shouldn't you spend on an esrog? Rav Goldberg brings a story about Rabbi Avram, the brother of the Gra. He lived in the city of Kaiden, and he was very poor, and his relatives said, come, move back to Vilna. So he said, I have to ask the boss. I have to ask the Rebbitzin. And he asked the Rebbitzin, and she said, no, we're not moving. Every day on my way to shul, I pass back by the house that we sold to buy Dalet Minim this year. I get so much hana looking at the house that we sold for the Dalet Minim that hana I won't have in Vilna. So we're going to stay right here in Kaiden so that every day I could reap the hana of looking at the house that we sold to buy the Dalet Minim. Now, this is a very interesting line in the Rosh. The Rosh says, be very generous with your money. God could fulfill that which you're lacking. And v'la says teref b'nei beischa, and support your family. I mean, the Rosh, why doesn't the Rosh say better? Don't worry about being very generous. God will bless you 1,000 times much. God will make you wealthy. Aser b'shvil shetes asher. Why is the Rosh saying scatter money? Because he could fulfill what you're lacking. I mean, why wouldn't he say more generous, that Hashem will bless you extremely? So, Rav Goldberg understands the Rosh. He doesn't mean to say that someone who gives his money to tzedakah, that Hashem will definitely be memale your chesaron. That Rabbeinu Yonah writes in his Perush HaMishlei, Musar Hashem b'ni al timas, that sometimes a person says, okay, I'm going to be mechazik in tzedakah, and he gives tzedakah, and all of a sudden he loses money. All of a sudden he doesn't have as much money. A person says, oh, I made a big mistake. No, Musar Hashem b'ni al timas. Be mechazik in your bitachon, that Hashem could, if Hashem wants, He could be mashlim your chisaron just like that. But don't think that all of a sudden you're going to start learning more, and all of a sudden your life is going to drastically improve instantaneously. No, sometimes Hashem will test the person. Will the person regret the mitzvah that he did? So the Rosh is saying, realize that when a person generously gives toward Avodas Hashem, don't think, oh, what's going to happen now? If Hashem wants, He could easily make that up. But certainly there's also an idea that Hashem will be mavarich a person for the mitzvahs and tzedakah that a person gives. Okay, Bez Hashem, we will continue tomorrow in Ois Lamed, and wishing everyone a wonderful day. Kol Tov. Be well.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.